meeting to order. If everyone wants to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Select Board meeting of Tuesday, June the 11th, 2024. And before we start, I just wanted to thank everybody who submitted their names here and at home for all the various open board and committee appointments. The work doesn't get done without all of the volunteers that we have, so I'm so thankful for all the names that showed up on this list, and just wanted to give everyone a shout out before we got started. So with that being said, public hearings, we have none, and we will move on to the annual appointments by the Select Board. So just to note, whoever is here or via Zoom, if you are being reappointed or a new appointee, feel free to come up if you want to give a brief statement either way. We will ask that new appointees in particular come up and say something, but certainly reappointments, you're welcome to come on up as well and just reintroduce yourself or what have you. And then additionally, just so you know, Candy is available down at the town clerk's office this evening. So after your appointment, if you want to scooch down there, you can get the paperwork done and then you'll be done. You don't have to make an appointment to come in to see her, okay? Okay, so without further ado, our first, this is timing out so quickly. We have Affordable Housing Trust, so we have 3 seats open and we have 3 people that are applying. Nicole, I believe you are a reappointment, if you're here, or maybe not. Okay. And Colleen and Sarah. So Colleen, if you want to come up. And if when folks come up, they can just state their name, their address, and then go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Colleen Roy, 53 Elmwood Street. I've been attending the Affordable Housing Trust with pretty good regularity for the last couple of years. Not as regular as Select Board, you guys are still number 1. But yeah, I'm really interested and there's some seats available, so I thought now was the time to step up and try to get on. Thank you.
Any questions from the board at all? Or? Okay, thanks. And Sarah? Hi, Sarah, welcome.
Hello, I'm Sarah Salbu Young, and so I moved with my husband, we moved to Grafton 4 years ago, just kind of stumbled upon Grafton, and now we proudly call it home. And so I am very interested in getting involved in a committee just to learn more and how to contribute to the town. So I'm actually Colleen's neighbor. I live at 4 Farnham Street, and she recommended that this would be a good committee to learn and get involved, and I'm just kind of in a position to learn more. So I'm on a personal note, I don't have much government or local government experience. I'm on a career pause to take care of my young son, and but I have a background. I spent 13 years in corporate public relations, so just kind of looking to fill some time during nap times and early bedtimes.
And get out of the house once in a while.
Exactly,
Maybe get
and
out of the
actually
house
talk to adults.
twice a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone on
Talk
the
to
board have
adults.
any questions or?
Oh, similar story. I stumbled on Grafton, and here I am for 30 something, 20, almost 30 years,
Very nice.
and I call it home.
Yes, it's a wonderful town.
Andy?
Are you prepared for the amount of government discussion that Miss Roy is going to want to have with you?
Yes, we walk our dog every day, and I run into her at the bus stop, so I am, good to go.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Any further discussion on the Affordable Housing Trust nominees? Okay,
Oh, Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to appoint Nicole Ethier, Colleen Roy, and Sarah Salbu Young to the Affordable Housing Trust for 2-year terms expiring June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Congratulations. I should have noted at the outset that Matt often is away and in a different time zone, so he's not here virtually or in person tonight, just FYI. Okay, Moving on to the Waste Reduction and Recycling Committee. There's one seat on that board. And Sarah, given that you just got on the other one, are you still interested in pursuing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, really jumping in.
Doubling up now. All right,
Does the board want Sarah to come up again, or are we
No.
good?
unnecessary.
Okay.
Madam
Right.
Chair,
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to appoint Sarah Salvo Young to the Waste Reduction and Recycling Committee.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Congratulations, Sarah. Welcome to
Yeah,
town, and you're on
thank you.
2 committees. Okay, so moving on to the Cable Oversight Committee. We did have one person decline, that decided that they weren't going to pursue this. So we have reappointments, Bob Hassinger, Corson Wyman, and then new potential appointees, Colleen Roy and Walter Laskus. Bob, do you want to say anything?
Maybe a few words.
Sure.
Thank you. And thanks to Bob Berger, who is leaving us. He's been invaluable, and don't know how we'll get by without him. But really thank the new applicants for coming forward. Sometimes we don't get too many. I wouldn't mind being appointed to the longer term. I've been sworn in 40 times to this committee, and because it was every year, might not by my longer term. Just one thing, I'm going to be posting an agenda for a cable committee meeting that'll be held next Monday evening. I'll be doing that tomorrow. Our new people won't actually be official members, I believe, until July 1st. But I hope that we can get them to come to the meeting and participate and get in. If we have any critical votes, they can't vote, but otherwise they can get started. I will need, I sent off a note. I'm going to need email addresses for the new folks. Any questions?
Just one, just about Mr. Berger. How many years did he serve on that committee
I
with you,
don't
Bob?
remember exactly, but I'm going to say 15.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more. Well, I've been on, it's anyway 15.
Yeah. I just think it would be appropriate to send Bob a letter of thanks for his service. That's a long time to serve on that committee, and I'd ask us to do that as a board.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Alamo?
Bob, how long have you served on this committee?
Since it was founded in 1984.
Since Moses was a child.
That seems longer than 40 years. But
No, actually, 84, 94, 4, 14,
40, yes.
24.
oh, it's 50. My math is.
No,
It's 40.
40 years.
Yeah, I was right.
he's not the treasurer, thank goodness.
Right.
That
No,
was
I'm
a
not.
one.
No, agree. And Bob, you were hoping for a longer term?
Well, you have, if you remember, a few months ago, I came in and mentioned that it might be a good idea to change this committee to have rotating 3-year terms instead of everybody having 1-year terms. You decided to do that. So I believe tonight that you're appointing 2 to 2-year terms.
Yep.
And 2 to 3-year terms.
Right.
And I'm available for the 3-year term.
Okay.
And the 2. But I think I've sworn in enough. Whatever. Come on.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the board for Bob? And is it Carson here? Corson, sorry.
I don't see
No.
him, and he's a reappointment.
He's a reappointment, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, then moving along to Colleen. I don't know. You can come up again, sorry. We got rolls.
Colleen Roy, 53 Elmwood Street. After you guys refreshed their charge, I got a really good kick out of that and thought it would be a good committee to get on, and saw an open seat and put my name in.
Okay, great. Thanks, Colleen. Any questions for Colleen? No. I'm sorry, my iPad is going to sleep like every like a second, so I'm just gonna keep having Tiana do this. Walter, I saw you here. Yep.
Feels like I was just standing behind this podium. Walter Lascos, I'm at 37 Luca Drive, just down the road. Definitely want to get involved with the committee. I've been doing television work, production, cable, satellite, microwave, and all since the early '80s. I almost wonder if I predate Bob for doing some of this stuff. But I, worked with Bob the last several weeks for a program that I held last week, and really got to see the facility, got to see the cable operation, and was just totally taken by everything. I mean, you guys have a gem here. It's really a gold mine, and if I could help to do something about it in terms of programming and exposure and all that, I'd be more than willing, because I really, I'm impressed to no end with what you all have, and having something like that, that's a tremendous investment for the community, for programming, for engagement, networking, and I think there's so much that could be done, and I'm really looking forward to participating and bringing my ideas, to the board for discussion.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for stepping forward. And we have Bill in the booth.
That's right, and Bill I've worked with, yes, exactly.
It's the best.
Exactly, absolutely.
You have one heck of a resume, sir.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I've been around,
that's great.
but it's about time I kind of, I think give back a little bit, so this is an opportunity to do so.
And do you have any questions, or anyone questions?
I'm going to thank you again later, but yes, thank you for applying. And his again, I'll further discuss during select board reports. Had the pleasure of attending your workshop here last week. Walt is just an effortless spokesman for this type of media, and I think we'd be lucky to have him.
Yeah, I'll just hop on. I was here for that symposium, and you did a great
good.
job.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
So thank you so much, and thanks for stepping up. We appreciate it.
I've heard from a lot of seniors since that day how much they enjoyed it and how much they felt like they learned. So that was great.
Oh, good. I'm really pleased to hear that, because that is, I think it's something that's very important. Well, you all know about scams and fraud, targeting the elderly, and we're not doing enough, and we really need to educate. That's our best means of defense, to protect them.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have 4 seats, and we have 4 candidates, 2 reappointments and 2 new candidates. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, just probably need to roll around the term lengths. And at least discuss that a little bit, so we know what Bob would like to have a longer term. I didn't ask the others if they're interested in longer terms or shorter terms. I could be random here, because I'm making the motion, so.
I'll do 2. I'll volunteer.
Oh, all right.
Maybe we
Madam Chair, may I ask?
go ahead.
Walt, do you have a, I saw 3? Okay, settled. Thank you.
All right, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board to vote to appoint Bob Hassinger and Walter Laskaus to the Cable Oversight Committee for terms expiring June 30th, 2027. And I also move the board vote to appoint Corson Wyman and Colleen Roy to the Cable Oversight Committee for terms expiring June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Congratulations, everyone. If the board will just allow me, I skipped over announcements. So if I can go back to that, I just realized it, and I apologize to everyone. So for the June 11th, 2024 announcements, Norcross Park at 18 North Street will have its grand opening, this Friday at 10 a.m. Come watch the ribbon cutting and check out the first ever all-inclusive playground in Grafton. Silver Lake Beach opens this Saturday, June the 15th. You can purchase your season pass at tinyurl.com/Silver Lake Beach. I'll say that again. tinyurl.com/Silver Lake Beach. It's on the website somewhere as well. And then lastly, the Grafton Historical Society will hold their 56th annual Antique and Arts Fair on Saturday, June the 22nd, from 9 to 3 at the Common. And I do know that the society is still looking for volunteers for that event, so if anyone is interested, you can check out their website and volunteer for them. And thank you for bearing with me as I completely skipped over the announcements. So, moving along, I believe next is Council on Aging, and there are 7 seats. We have 4 folks who are interested. Are any of these,
Only one new one, Madam Chair.
sorry?
3 reappointments and only one new one.
Okay, thank you. And is it Anne Marie that's the,
Walter is the new one. Mr. Lascos.
oh, so 3 reappointments and just Walter, okay.
Yep.
So, Anne Marie, Annette, or Carl, are you here in the building or via Zoom?
No,
Okay.
I think I talked to all 3 of them in the last week, and they were not planning on coming.
No problem. And then, Walter, did he just leave to go? Oh, no, you're here. Great. You wanna, yeah, you can come on up, sure.
This isn't like hugging the show, is it? First of all, I think as I announced when I held the event last week, I am a senior, and when you're a senior talking to fellow seniors, or I should say properly older adults, particularly, in situations where it's delicate information, it's very important for them to hear it from one of their own. So I take a very humble position in being one of those elders that's able to share concerns, share feelings, share advice and guidance. I worked with Shannon in putting the event together last week and got exposure to the senior center. I've been doing work with seniors for about the last 7 years, and particularly in the areas of financial exploitation. And I've been doing it in New Hampshire, throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Delaware. You may ask why in particular those states. I was working for the Cooperative Credit Union Association as a public relations executive, and I created the program there, those educational forums. So I've been through a number of senior centers, all across those 4 states. And again, too, for what we have here, and joining Mike Festa from AARP, really, it's a gem again for what Grafton has. And if I could help to contribute to the prosperity of our senior center and the prosperity of the programming that we have for our older adults, so be it. I'm there for them.
Great, thank you, Walter. Any questions, further questions for Walter? No. Okay, any discussion? Thank you so much. Any further discussion in general on the appointments? Okay,
No, Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to appoint Anne Marie Elia, Annette McCarthy, Carl Parisi, and Walter Laskows to the Council on Aging for 4-year terms expiring June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Thank you.
Under discussion, isn't it Carla Parisi? It's Carl?
I think it's Carl, yeah.
Okay. Is it Carl or running around Grafton too? But, all right. Want to make sure about that.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. And moving on to CPC, we have 3 seats. 2 people are looking to be reappointed, Ken Holberger and Paul Scarlett. If you weren't here at the beginning, I mentioned if folks who are looking to be reappointed want to come up and say a few words, they're welcome to. If not, that's fine as well. And then Craig Polar would be a new addition. So I do see, I think I saw Ken
Ken's
come in.
here.
No, you're all set, great. And is Paul
Not here.
out there?
Let's see, Paul.
No.
Right, so we'll move on to Craig, if you want to come up and just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you want to do this.
I'm Craig Polar, 55 Miriam Road. I moved to Grafton 60-something years ago. Been off and on here. Worked on Wall Street for 30 years and had a lot of work in finance, and looking forward to helping the committee and helping preserve Grafton.
Any questions for Craig? Okay, thank you.
Thanks for
Good,
stepping
thanks.
forward.
Yeah, thanks. And any further discussion in general on the appointment?
Yes, we have terms that we have to discuss.
Okay,
So there's one 3-year and there's one 2-year. So 2 candidates would serve for 3 years and one would serve for 2. So we have to decide who that might be.
okay.
Madam Chair.
Andy?
Yeah,
Mr. Jefferson, sorry.
I think everyone was about to jump in on that too, but it's a 1 year, filling out the remainder of a 1 year term. It would expire next June 25.
Eric's turn.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, generally speaking, the board does, the reappointed candidates get the full term, and then the new candidate gets that shorter term because they're filling it. That's a
Yeah.
way to do it without it being,
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, Madam Chair.
When you're ready, no rush, Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to appoint Ken Holberger and Paul Scarlett to the Community Preservation Committee for 3-year terms expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
And,
Hang
hold on.
Oh, you're gonna do Craig too?
And I move the board vote to appoint Craig Polar to the Community Preservation Committee to fill the vacancy with the term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
Just, we should explain to Craig, so you're filling a seat on an opening, so it'll expire next year, so you will be notified by the clerk's office or by the
by the town administrator's office.
by town administrator's office next year if you want to just be reappointed, so just look for that next year. Or I'll fill it out and send it in for you.
Thank you
Yeah.
for stepping up, and great. And we already voted. So moving on to the Historic District Commission. There are 6 potential seats here. We have 4 people that are interested, 3 of whom are reappointments, and 1 new person is Bill Nicholson, Paul, on Zoom. So what's on Zoom is what we see, is it, Will? Or
Yes.
not necessarily? Yep, okay.
Yep,
So
I'm
they're not here.
watching it here too.
Okay.
There's-
And then John isn't here as well. So they are all the reappointments. John, you are. Do you want to say anything or? No, you're fine. No worries. Okay, and we'll have Kayleen Foley come up and I'll recuse myself on this vote. Welcome.
Hello, Kayleen Foley. So I was born and raised in Grafton. I just bought my first house right outside of the Common and just thought I would put my hat in the ring. I have a lot of committee experience and I'm a teacher, so in schools as well as in college, I was the president and vice president of 2 different clubs. So yeah, that's my spiel.
Any questions for Kayleen? Okay, and like I said, I won't vote, but barring any discussion or questions,
Okay.
Mr. Alamo.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to appoint Bill Nicholson, Paul Scarlett, John Stevens to the Historic District Commission for 3-year terms expiring June 30th, 2027. And I move the board vote to appoint Kayleen Foley to the Historic District Commission to fill a vacancy with a term expiring June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And Anne Marie will abstain. All right, great. Thanks, Kayleen, for stepping up, and thanks everyone else. Moving on to the Historical Commission. There were 6 seats here. We have 1 person who is looking to be reappointed and 2 new candidates. I know Jen sent in a letter. Sorry, I'll start with John. I assume you don't want to jump up for this one either. No worries. And Jen sent in a note that she wasn't available tonight. Did everyone see that?
I did.
Okay. And Joanne is here. Do you want to come up, Joanne?
Joanne Duncan, 6 Apple Ridge Lane. I moved to Grafton 24 years ago. I've been on, Evan's smiling at me. I've been on the Recreation Commission, CPC. I worked for Evan for a period of time.
The
I
best
saw the-
period of time of your life.
I was thinking of yours, but
Well, that's probably true. That's probably true.
I saw the openings on the Historical Commission, and the history of Grafton I love, so I felt I could help in that committee.
Great. Any questions for Joanne or comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have 3 candidates, and there's no further discussion. Take a motion.
Yep, Madam Chair, I move the board vote to appoint John Stevens, Jennifer Thomas, and Joanne Duncan to the Historical Commission for 3-year terms expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Great, thank you. The IT committee, I believe that Amy has decided not to run for the next 2 things, so we have Bob Carroll, who is a reappointment, is that correct? Yep.
Yes, correct.
And are you here, Bob, in the audience?
No, I don't think he is, and I don't think he's on Zoom either. I did.
So we,
a minute ago.
I think, sorry. So we have 2 seats. I will entertain a motion.
I move the board vote to appoint Robert Carroll to the IT Committee for 3-year terms expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. So Open Space and Recreation Commission, or Committee, sorry, I believe Amy has also decided to decline that. So we have 2 people that are looking for reappointment, Elizabeth Coveney and Trevor Holden. I don't see Elizabeth here. I see Trevor here. You can come up and speak if you want, but you don't have to, given that you're getting reappointed. Just throwing it out there. So 2 seats and 2 candidates
Yep,
currently.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to appoint Elizabeth Coveney and Trevor Holden to the Open Space and Recreation Committee for 2-year terms expiring June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, thanks. Again, I'm just gonna reiterate, anyone who came in late, if you wanna head on down to the clerk's office, you can go get sworn in right now, and you can save yourself having to make an appointment at a further time. So Veterans Advisory Committee, there are a lot of seats, 15 seats here. We have 6 people who are all looking for reappointment. Bob DeToma, Richard is here, Andrew, Sean, Holly, and Justin Stone. Anyone who is here that is looking to be reappointed that wants to come up and say a word? Yep.
Not gonna say nothing, but I do wanna be reappointed.
Yes, okay. And there's no one on Zoom, so we've plenty.
Is everybody on this committee on a 1-year basis?
This is a 1-year term.
It's all 1-year term, huh? Which means that, everybody's gone this year if you don't say yes, you're gonna go forward.
Yeah, why is that a 1-year term?
That's
That's just
what
the way the charge was set up?
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something we can.
The soldiers and sailors is, I believe, 3.
Yeah,
I don't understand,
They should all be 3.
why this is 1.
Well, so it's noted, and maybe we can look at that at a future, we'll put that on an agenda, just to look at the terms, yeah. Because even just coming every year, you know.
Yeah, soldiers and sailors is different because it's outlined in the charter, and Veterans Advisory is not. So,
Okay, so for this year, it is a 1-year term, and then we will put that on an
And
agenda.
it does require to get sworn in again.
I'm sorry, was that directed to me?
No,
I was
it was
reading the
probably
charge.
to me, but I just want to make
Um,
sure I have the answers. They have to go and get sworn in again?
Yes.
Yep, pretty much everyone.
Please do.
Okay, so,
Okay, Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo,
I move the board vote to appoint Bob DeToma. This is gonna be tough. Richard Trezik, Andrew Kielberg, Sean McCavey, Holly McCormick, and Justin Stone to the Veterans Advisory Committee for 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Then the motion carries. Thank you. Okay. So ZBA, we have 2 seats. Sean realized that he wasn't gonna be able to fulfill this, so we have Brian and Bill both looking for reappointment. And I think Brian is here via Zoom. If you wanna say words, Brian, you can. If not, that's okay. And same to you, Bill.
Nothing
Bill?
for me, unless you need something.
No. You're welcome to, okay.
Good evening, Bill Yeomans, and I seek to be reappointed to a 3-year term. I've served for 10 years, and I think we have a very strong board, and I'd like to continue to contribute to that strength. So I hope to be reappointed. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Any questions or discussion?
One comment for me, if you don't mind, Madam
Sure,
Chair.
Mr. Elmo.
Yep, I just wanted to say that there's few public servants, I shouldn't say that, I should say, among the public servants that we know, Bill is one of those that's more diligent, more steady, he does a ton of research, he looks into things deeply, he makes a passionate case for what he thinks is right in compliance with the law and in compliance with his interpretation of what the way things should be on the ZBA, and he does a fantastic job with that. I mean, the level of detail that he goes through is, that would make my dad super proud, and he was that way. He was pretty tough on us for that stuff, but, so, we would be very lucky to have Bill and Brian return to ZBA.
Well said.
Okay, any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to appoint Brian Waller and Bill Yeomans to the Zoning Board of Appeals for 3-year terms expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, great. Congratulations and thanks for coming back, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Bill. Okay, moving on, Accessibility Advisory Committee. There were 2 seats and we have one person looking to be reappointed. I think that they're meeting tonight maybe, so Christy is probably not here. So without if there's any discussion, if not, I'll take a motion.
Okay, Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to reappoint Christy Proctor to the Accessibility Advisory Committee for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Okay, Board of Cemetery Commissioners, 1 seat, and we have John Pocius, or Pocius? Sorry about that, Pocius, okay. Is John here? Nope. Any discussion or questions?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to reappoint John Pocius to the Board of Cemetery Commissioners for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The Board of Health, we have 3 seats, and we have Karen Gobbin and Jennifer Maynard. Both up for reappointment, am I correct? Yep, thank you. And I don't know if either of them are here and want to say any words. If not, are there any questions or concerns?
Just that we're gonna have to fill that 5th seat on that board. That's an important committee, so we're gonna have to advertise for that.
Yep, we'll keep on it.
Okay, Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to reappoint Karen Gazowski Gobbin and Jennifer Mader to the Board of Health for 3-year terms expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Okay, moving on to the Cultural Council, there were 5 seats here. We have Julie Grace, Meta Mitchell, and Daniel Morris. I don't know who are there?
They're all currently on.
They are.
Yeah.
Any of them here and want to say any words? Okay,
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to reappoint Julie Grace, Meta Mitchell, and Dan Morris to the Cultural Council for 3-year terms expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Lake Quinsigamond Commission, there's 1 seat. William Nelson is looking to be reappointed. Yep, would you like to come up?
Bill Nelson, 88 George Hill Road. I have been on the Lake Quinsigamon Commission for 6 years, and longer than that, 16 years in the Quinsigamon Boat Club. So I've been spending a lot of time out on the water every morning for the last 16 years. It's my understanding that the recent report I submitted on what the Lake Commission has been doing, and particularly with respect to Grafton, covering the 4 subjects of sharing the assets in the lake between all the different communities of users, the problems of pollution and aquatic weed invasion and how that has to be handled, the law enforcement issues, and also trying to fund those are all going to be discussed according to the recent report I gave you on your July 2nd meeting. So I won't say anything more about that. I came in person tonight just because I seem to spend some time every week at the Shrewsbury Town Hall and know everybody there. I only come into Grafton's Town Hall, even though I've lived here for 45 years, maybe once or twice a year. So I hope you'll recognize my face and I can recognize yours. The only other thing I want to say, that I mentioned the 4 issues that concerns Grafton, particularly all that pollution coming down the Lake Quinsigamon River, but the duty of the commission, as you probably know, also involves an awful lot to do with rowing. And I've been involved in rowing also for 60 years. I'm also on like the MIT alumni board for controlling their rowing program. I'm involved in what goes on in the Charles River. None of that was in the update because that's not really relevant to Grafton, but it does perform and require a lot of expertise on my part. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you on July 2nd, hoping that you have a lot of questions on that report that was submitted.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that too, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, unless there's any questions.
Yeah, any questions for Bill? Like you said, we'll see you on the 2nd and we can review it. Okay, Mr. Alamo?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to reappoint Bill Nelson to the Lake Quinsigamon Commission for 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. The registrar of voters, there we have 1 seat. John Benina is seeking to return to that seat. And is John here or out there? Okay, do you want to come up? You can. Sure. Okay.
John Benina, 7 Prospect Street, North Grafton. I've been in town since 2019, and so I was appointed to a half-year term last fall for the Board of Registrars, and not knowing quite what I was getting into, but it's really not that bad, actually. I'm very impressed. That's basically what I want to say about our voting process and our town clerk's office and the work they do to oversee the voting process. It's impressive, and we had a training back in, I think it was March, that was carried out by the state for all the poll workers, and board registrars attended at that point, and it was very comprehensive, very thorough, and I think we're in pretty good hands in terms of how the voting process happens in this town. So I'm a member of the Democratic Town Committee, and was nominated by them to the appointment. So, and for those of you who don't know what the Board of Registrars are, which I didn't really understand a whole lot, there's 3 positions that are nominated by the Democratic Town Committee, the Republican Town Committee, and an independent. And we work together with the town clerk's office to oversee the voting process. So,
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Mr. Benina? Nope.
No.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yep, hang on. Andy?
Thank you. You don't have to stay standing, Mr. Benina, if you don't want to. It was more a general thing. It's great to have our registrar of voters full again. We did have some difficulty appointing people to that for a while, and it was just one person. So, thank you for stepping up. It's also great to hear some of those positive notes for the town clerk's office and a lot of the work that they do, kind of behind the scenes, that doesn't get seen by the public, and that effort. So, thank you for the kind words.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to reappoint John Bonina to the Board of Registrars for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And moving on, another reappointee to the Trustees of Soldiers and Sailors Memorials. We have one seat, and it's Sean McAvey, who is not here, and he's looking for reappointment. Any questions or concerns? Okay, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to reappoint Sean McAvey to the Trustees of Soldiers and Sailors Memorials for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Let me get into my thing here. So, constables,
No appointments.
okay, and same with election workers? No appointments? Okay. Okay. So those,
They're just, the names just aren't listed on the agenda, I'm sorry.
okay,
There is a, Madam Chair,
yeah,
all right, I
In the
think I got
motion
this.
section, it lists them all.
Yeah, you
Just
click the link and it brings you to the,
Oh, there's a huge list of them?
so,
okay, so constables, there are 4, actually. Thank you, I didn't click on it. So we have Roger Courier, Marianne DeFree, Cindy Ide, and William Cook, sorry, all, up for reappointment. Any discussion, questions? All right, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I move the board vote to reappoint J. Roger Courier, Marianne DeVries.
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 You wanna just do the whole thing over, or? Sorry.
No, that's just mean. I mean, come on.
You're doing great.
Cindy Ide, and William Cook as constables for 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. So perhaps for the election workers, and I apologize, my thing keeps timing out. There is a long list, and we can perhaps just take a motion to accept the slate as presented in this.
We have a hand.
Oh, yep, sorry, Cheryl, is it Cheryl?
Sherilyn Reno, 89 Keith Hill Road, please read the.
Come on up first, can you just come on up? I know Bill will.
Sherilyn Reno, 89 Keith Hill Road, I would like to request that you read the list
Sure.
of election workers because last year at least one election worker was left off the list.
Okay, no problem.
I can do that.
Okay, do you wanna do that as part of the motion, or I can just go through it? Do it as a motion, or should I do it first?
I can make the motion and read the names.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alamo.
Or I can try. All right, Madam Chair, I move the board vote to reappoint the election workers for the town of Grafton. Let me start over. I move the board vote to reappoint the following election workers for the town of Grafton for 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2025. And they are Augustus Adams, Marguerite Burrill, Richard Barnard, Marianne Brayer, Nancy Billings Warden, Lydia Bogar, Patricia Cahill, Julianne Capizzello Warden, Mohammed Ahmad Chaudhry, Joyce David, Danielle Decker, Laura Didio, Marie Didonna, Carol Gagney, Melissa Goddard, Evelyn Gillette, Linda Hassinger, Constance Hopkins, Sharon K. Keeley, Richard Kurzik, Janet Kraus, Brian Langevin, Philip LaValle, Patricia Lecanto, Nancy Malone, Beverly Mara, Olivia Marshall, Amy Marr, Greg Marr, Doris Metevier, Mary Murray, Darlene Orn, Judith Powell, Mary Preston, Kyle Quirk, Diane Raymond, Lois Reed, Wendy Reed, Sherlyn Reno, Joan Shanley, Lori Lee Seifert, Jacqueline Smith, Donna Wank, and Charlotte Wojcicki. No, Wojcicki.
Is that everybody?
That's everybody on the list.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions?
Did we miss anybody?
Mr. Jefferson?
Good job, Mr. Alamo.
Yeah, I'm sweating it out right now, though, Mr. Jefferson, but I think, yeah, thanks.
It was a strong effort. Yep.
That's really long.
Okay, barring any further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you for that.
I don't think the clerk can say no.
Of course you can.
Okay, so moving on to annual appointments, town administrator. Board of Assessors, we have one seat. Alec, I'm sorry.
Aleke.
I know, can you just come on up and tell me, so I don't say anything wrong?
This one I got, though.
Sorry.
Just want to quickly introduce myself. So Aleke Musumba, that's how it's pronounced.
Thank you.
10 Sunnyside Terrace, South Grafton. Had the privilege of serving for 1 year so far. Actually passed all of my 101 training,
Impressive, yeah.
which was pretty comprehensive. And I think I'm certified now to do assessing myself. Which
You're certified.
I'm not going to do it because Tammy is excellent. Just along the lines of, you know, the person who gave kudos to the clerk's office. I didn't realize how much went into assessing. And I got to say, and I say it to Tammy all the time, and I think she thinks I'm just saying it, but awesome job. And I mean, when you think about it, it's like you guys kind of, you know, approve all of the budget side, and this is all the revenue side. And without it, there is no budget side. Do an amazing job. And so there are three things. I mean, you know, I'd like to just continue with it because there's the fair and equitable assessment of the properties, continue with that piece of the process, execute all of the functions of the assessor's office. There's, you know, abatements and demands and a lot of different things that happen there. And I did have one idea, and I mentioned this, and I met actually with Evan and Tammy initially, and they kind of grilled me a little bit. I think we talked for about an hour the first time when I was filling the seat. And I was thinking as an idea, we might be able to provide some type of training to the town because a lot of people kind of complain and moan about their taxes all the time, but I don't think they understand what goes into it and why. And so I think maybe a training might be a nice thing, so it would kind of alleviate some of the burden of people going up to the window and being like, what the hell's going on? As well as people not fully understanding, you know, their role, our role, the Department of Revenue's role, the DLS's role, and even the select board's role as far as, you know, setting the budget. So that's just one idea for it, and I think it's a 3-year term now. So I, you know, we respectfully request that I, you know, continue on.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for those words. Any comments or questions, Mr. Jefferson?
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
No, I again, just a comment. I think everybody up here has butchered your name at one time or another, and I apologize for that.
Me.
But it also,
It's the worst.
it also
And
means
my
that-
wife's entire family.
It also means that you apply for a lot of things, and it's great to see somebody who is so excited about assessing, no less.
That's a good point.
Again, you know, thank you for everything that you've applied yourself to, and for coming out tonight.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome, and everyone else too, so thank you.
Well said.
Anyone else?
I just happy Aleke's here and happy to share his cell number with anybody that is not happy with their tax bills. Now we know who to call.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Aleke.
I've been doing it for the past year.
Yeah. And believe me, he's a good sales guy, so he will definitely, they'll be apologizing and say, I'm going right now to pay my tax bill when he's done with them. But
Everyone's a comedian.
Yeah, everyone's a
All right,
Madam Chair,
Mr. Alamo.
I move the board vote to affirm the reappointment of Aleke Musumba to the Board of Assessors for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Lucky to have you, sir. Very lucky. Yeah, okay.
Okay, moving on to the Board of Sewer Commissioners. We have Susan Hanoel Duval.
Reappointment.
Reappointment. And is she here or via Zoom? Nope.
Nope.
Any questions or concerns from the board? Barring none, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I move the board vote to affirm the reappointment of Susan H. Duval to the Board of Sewer Commissioners for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Okay, I just skipped over the keeper of the lockup. We have Chief Norman Crapo, who is looking to be reappointed. Any questions or concerns from the board?
Nope.
Barring none, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I move the board to vote to affirm reappointment of Chief Norman Crapo as keeper of the lockup for a 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you, Amber, for getting everyone their paperwork and keeping this flowing. Okay, moving along, the Public Works Advisory Committee. So we have 3 people here, John Bouchard, Adam Klein, Patrick O'Connell. None are here. Any discussion or questions? And they're all reappointments?
Adam Klein, I think, is a new appointment.
Okay,
Okay, Madam Chair?
and Adam is not here? Or on Zoom?
He's
No,
not
I don't
on
believe
my
so.
agenda.
Sorry?
Nothing. He's just not on here. My agenda. Must have him.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, Mr. Alamo?
Madam Chair, I move the board vote to affirm the appointment of John Bouchard, Adam Klein, and Patrick O'Connell to the Public Works Advisory Committee.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Okay, barring none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. And then moving along to the Traffic Safety Committee, there's 7 seats. We have John Bouchard, Paul Canoyer, Chief Norman Crapo, Dan Porgazowski, John Reel, Scott Rossiter, and Brian
Cizurko.
I know how to say it too. Sorry, guys. All reappointments, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And anyone of them here or at home that want to speak? Any discussion or questions by the board? Barring none, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I move the board vote to affirm the reappointment of John Bouchard, Paul Canoyer, Chief Crapo, Dan Porgazowski, John Riles, Scott Rossiter, and Brian Zerko to the Traffic Safety Committee for 1-year terms expiring June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a comment that this group has been together for a very long time doing this.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, they've been there forever, so that's great. There's a good group there and bring a lot of different ideas to the table, but they do a good job.
They do.
Yeah, glad they're sticking with it.
I agree. They do bring a lot of different perspectives. Any further discussion?
And just to confirm or reaffirm, it's John Reel. If I said Ryle, it's Reel.
You're doing better than I am.
Just gonna get that out there.
So you made the motion
I did.
and we seconded already? Sorry, we already had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and I think that concludes the appointment section of our agenda. So we are moving on to new business, of which we have none. Okay. Any select board reports? Mr. Jefferson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as I kind of teased earlier, I had the pleasure of attending and providing a brief introduction at the Educational Forum on protecting older adults from scams and fraud, sponsored by the Senior Center and Homefield Credit Union last Thursday here in Conference Room A. GCTV has been showing it across the public access channels. It's also available on their YouTube. There was an impressive group of panelists here, including representatives from AARP, the Mass Executive Office of Elder Affairs, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Secret Service, along with kind of local celebrities, Carl Moyson from Homefield Credit Union and Chief Crapo, who both offered their insight as to some of the scams and fraud that they see perpetrated on a more regular basis around town. It was a packed house. Every seat was full. The discussions continued down to the Bolock room afterwards, where Homefield had provided lunch as well. And as I again kind of teased earlier, I just wanted to express my gratitude to Mr. Laskos, who produced the event and pulled together a really valuable panel of experts. It was a great presentation, and it had information that I feel would be valuable for anybody. I mean, especially so for our seniors, but just a lot of really solid info. I've tried to share the link out a couple times on social media, but a great watch for residents.
Anyone else? Any board meetings or select board reports? I'm sorry. I also attended that, and I really enjoyed, Walter, how you managed being the facilitator. I think you did a fabulous job, actually, and I agree that it was informative. It's something that has hit close to home for me, so it was great to see that being presented to everyone. And I agree with Andy, encourage everyone, seniors and other people alike, to take a look at the presentation for sure. Okay, so that's it for select board reports. We'll move on to TA report.
Yep, thank you. So I've been revamping this a little bit. I think it's much better.
We'll see.
I know. Before I start, I did want to just give a kudos to the senior center. We actually had a senior stop in today, just out of the blue, that wanted to tell us how fantastic everything is down there, and they participate in the exercise classes every day, 5 days a week, and just what our offerings are compared to other communities and the level of support that we give. She was giving an example of working through some issues with her elderly mother, and us giving advice and trying to set things up, even though they were in a different state. So just, kudos to all of our staff that go above and beyond down there to try to get people the information that they need. I thought that was great. And nice to have that out of the blue. All right, so I've revamped this. Now I have a section called DPW projects to just kind of separate it out. So the Millbury Street sidewalks is of course a state project. The state has told us that they plan on issuing the notice to proceed in August-September timeline. And then as soon as that project kicks off, we are also going to be repaving that section of Millbury Street from the school parking lot to the town line. North Street sidewalk, that is a town project, but it's funded via ARPA. Our bids are actually due July 18th, and we project that should start in September of 24, depending on who gets the bid and what the notice to proceed looks like. Depot Street Bridge, that is a State and Sutton project. What we're being told right now is that it, late fall to early spring, which it seems more likely that it's going to be early spring due to winter conditions, but we will keep on top of that if we get any more information. This is a new addition, Fitzpatrick Road Bridge. This is a town project. It's been delayed for 2 years due to gas line relocation, but that is finally complete. Our bids timeline is August, and they are either going to start in October or the spring. That's kind of how that's looking. Somewhere in between there is about all we know so far. So George Hill Road is actually, from meetings we've had in the last couple of weeks, has expanded. We are doing Fay Mountain and Soap Hill at the same time with a full engineering stormwater plan. And we will also be paving Leland Hill as part of that. We are working our way through the scenic tree process, which is actually a much more arduous project than you might imagine. Anything over 4 inches has to be cataloged and mapped. And so we're working our way through that. But you'll notice that our current timeline now puts us at bidding in the early fall. So it's a little later than we were projecting, but the major reason for that is that we think that there's considerable savings to doing the Fay Mountain Soap Hill engineering at the same time as George Hill Road. So we've kind of combined that into one project, even though it's a multiple different funding source project. So there may be some early winter condition work, and then it would be all work from spring through to the fall, with wrap up in the fall of 25.
So it'll go out to bid early fall,
Correct.
and they'll break ground before frost, potentially?
That, right. Yep, potentially.
So they're gonna tear that place up and it's gonna be open it's gonna,
No, I think what we're looking at is a lot of the stuff that's off-road and some of the kind of minor things. We don't want to really open it up and just have it sit there all winter. So, but we also didn't want to pass up what we think are substantial savings of doing them all at the same time.
is it worth, I don't know who's in charge of like when this goes out to bid, but is it worth waiting till winter to put it out to bid and start for a spring start?
I think when I
because
say
contractors,
right.
that's when they're looking for work.
Right. So I think when I say fall bid process, we'll probably put it out to bid. I don't know that we'll have them closed before, say, November, December, with the idea that we'd probably get some savings too of people trying to line up work for the next fiscal year. So a little bit of a slip in the time frame, but like I said, we're really keen to get. If you've gone down Fay Mountain Road recently, that's in real bad shape too. So knock them all out at the same time.
Leland is rough too.
Leland as well. Yep.
So, question if I might, so the George Hill Road, the financing, that's one thing. You're tying in the other 3 roads just as part of the design
Yep.
phase, and then that's separate.
It's all, so the George Hill Road money stays on George Hill Road, because
Yeah.
that's what we've outlined it for.
Right.
The rest of the money is split between Chapter 90 and the stabilization that we have, road stabilization. But because we're doing all of them at the same time, that's one engineer, one contractor. There's savings there rather than pitting it out to 3 different time frame bids. So
And then, sorry, one other question.
sure, absolutely.
So how far out is this pushing the George Hill? Not,
It would
Not a lot.
Not a ton.
Okay.
Not a ton. We were hopeful to get some fall work in and then button it up and do some kind of minimal winter
Okay.
conditions, but it really seems to make more sense to get through the winter with whatever minor stuff we do and then really hit it hard in the spring and go straight through.
Okay,
So
thank you.
Just one other question.
Sure.
Going back to Milby Street, sorry.
yeah,
So you say that's gonna start in August?
yes.
Okay, so, the election day, when I was spending some time down there along the roadway, that first entrance into that school,
Mhm.
on the Providence Road side, when you enter the
it's bad.
school, there's a piece of asphalt that's eroded pretty well, and watching cars go around it and buses pound over it, it's just breaking up, and it's on a bit of a turn, so there's a lot of lateral pushing on that pavement.
Yeah.
It would be great if we could get in there over the summer. I don't know if that would, if that's a school issue or town issue, but I know Brian's, got all these guys on speed dial, and if we could just cut that section out and replace that section, do it like a permanent repair.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's only gonna get worse, and the rest of it's in decent shape, so now would be the time to cut that out and to fix it properly, and, it's obviously a place where there's a lot of stress,
Right.
so.
Or just cut it out and do it as an apron from the road. Go in, say 20 feet off the road as one.
It's pretty far in off the road.
Okay.
I don't know if you would wanna go to the whole road.
Yeah.
It could go to the,
That far in.
to where it abuts the road, but, maybe take a look at it,
Yeah.
ask Brian to look at it, but now's, we could do a repair pretty
Sure.
cost effectively.
Yep.
and-
We can put that in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll have to look at how far in it is. I'm picturing it probably closer to the road than it actually is.
Okay, it might be, but it seemed like it was pretty far in.
Yeah, I think it's close to the bend, and it's becoming a bit of a monster.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, moving on. Main Street, just keeping this on here. We're in punch list still, and so it's just hydro seeding, tree planting, and some minor cleanup work with folks that might have had some issues that we wanted to make right. So, okay. I have also added a section called 2024 paving projects. So this is the list of things that we are on the docket to pave. You'll notice I don't have any dates on here yet. So what generally happens is we get notified a week to a couple of days ahead of when it's going to start. And so what we're trying to do is we're giving a better overview of all of the paving, and then more pinpointed responses once we know the exact dates that it's supposed to start. So Tracy Ann Drive, Greeny Drive, as one project that's going to be milled and overlaid. Chestnut Street, Pigeon Hill area, including Woodside Drive, Horseshoe Drive, Garden Street, Crescent Street, and Westview Street. That's a mill and overlay, so that's that entire kind of hill area. North Street, we're planning on doing from the railroad crossing to the school, and you'll see that that's, I believe that's gas company did some work in there and it's settled out. When you're going up North Street on the right-hand side, it's got a pretty good.
Seems like we do that road every 5 years. We're redoing that road from the center up to the school.
Yep. I don't know the last time it was done. I have to ask.
It's not that long
Yeah.
ago.
And then Seaver Farm neighborhood, which includes Pratt Street, Chipper Drive, Blackstone Drive, and Eagle Rock Terrace. We're doing something a little different. We're doing it's called a bonded wearing course. This is a different paving process, but we think it's going to be more successful kind of in the neighborhood area. So this will be the first time we do that process here, and then we'll assess how it goes. So not really new in the world, but new for Grafton. I also have a white paper on wearing bonded course if anybody's interested. I read it today just in case anybody asked me what it is. General municipal project updates. The cupola, we're still well underway. It seems to be moving along just fine. We're projected to finish in August. The Regional Communications Center, we actually have a meeting tomorrow with the OPM, which is our kickoff of soliciting bids for the architect. North Street, it's still in the restructuring phase. I hope to have something for your first meeting in July. Norcross Park, as you already mentioned, grand opening is Friday at 10 a.m. We're all pretty excited about that. That came out really, really nice. Great job by multiple different departments putting that together, including Jen Anderson, our former director of Rec. That was really her baby when she started it off. And then we're still on the library flood, waiting for the carpet.
Business.
Yeah. Other updates. So 17 and 27 Upton Street, that's in front of Planning and Conservation. 5 Millennium is in front of Planning and Conservation. I just added 8 Millennium. That is through the permitting process. That's a 30,000 square foot industrial building that's being brought up on Millennium. That kind of flew under the radar. Like it really didn't garner that much attention, but that's a pretty good sized facility that they're building there. UPS, they had their community input session last night, and now it is off to Planning and Conservation. So it's moving right along. I'm feeling pretty good about that. 124 Westboro Road, that permit is complete, but I don't believe that they've broken any ground there currently. 14 Snow Road, all of the documentation has been submitted to EOHLC, so now it's pretty much just a waiting game on our end, or on the developer's end. And then I continue to negotiate with the Grafton Police Union, so we're making some progress there. And then lastly, and this is a little small, I got to work on the format a little bit, but this is the ARPA status update. So this is the latest information on what we have in the works or already completed for ARPA. I don't know that you want me to go kind of line by line, but it's in here and it'll be obviously in the minutes as part of this. Trying to think of anything that's kind of new. Since we had town meeting, there's really not a heck of a lot different than what was presented at town meeting. We are currently, I did talk to the police about their drone equipment, and we're currently working on that. We're looking at an American drone company because if anybody pays any attention to drone stuff, the company DJI, which is what most people are running right now, they're actually there's a bill in the U.S. House to ban all DJI products for fear that they're transmitting information to the Chinese. So we'll see what happens with that, but it's causing public safety to kind of steer away from that. And then other than that, it's kind of just waiting for money to be spent. So projects to come along. Yes.
I just have a question. So with the consultant, are we pretty much done with that?
Nope.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do, we have a balance there of 92,000. We're not gonna spend 92,000. It did not require the, when we got the money, we didn't know what it was gonna be. So we still need the consultant to do all the federal reporting all the way out until the projects are all closed and we're done. But Mary was looking at, reducing that number by probably like 60,000.
Yeah, right.
And pulling that money back into the pool. So
Great.
it's kind of just a big learning curve for a thing that'll probably never happen again. And that was it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Jefferson.
No questions. I just wanted to take a moment to, while we're highlighting things, thank Evan. He quietly goes about his office hours at the senior center every month. But I know one of the things that was brought to him fairly recently was one of the veteran seniors who lives over at Crescent Manor Nursing Home had discussed that they had a new flag, but there was damage to the raising mechanism at the top of their pole, and it was just a little bit higher than any of them were comfortable going to try and get up there to fix it. And they asked if there was anything that the town could do, and of course Evan takes those things on, whether it's those or complaints about potholes around town, any number of small kind of housekeeping things that he listens to. And then in this case he coordinated with the fire department, who went up there, I believe last week, toward the end of last week, with the tower truck and replaced a pulley and got the flag back up. And it means the world to the residents over there. And I just wanted to take a second and highlight some of those, again, behind the scenes smaller things that happen that really just mean the world to people, and as we go about our tasks here. So
Yeah.
thank you, Evan.
Thank you, and thanks to the fire department.
Yes.
For actually going up there.
That would have been really impressive if you went over there and did that.
I went and looked at it and then immediately thought, oh yeah, I can't go up there.
Okay, so thank you. We'll move along to correspondence. And does anyone have any correspondence that they want to highlight or discuss? We have a number of things in here relative to, planning board looking for comments on a variety of things. Nope.
Well, thank you for the nice note. I can't read her name.
Dawn Anderson.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
Okay. There are no resignations, and next are public comments. If we have any comments from anyone here in the room, or William, if we have anyone via Zoom.
No comments on Zoom.
Anyone here? Okay.
Nope. Is Mr.
Oh, sorry.
Roy?
I just want to ask some questions.
Sure. Come on up to the podium if you don't mind, and just say your name and your address, please. Thanks.
My name is Paul Roy. I live at 76 Carroll Road. I've been there since 2017. At that time, we bought a house, and I wanted to put an addition on the house. So I come to the planning board, to the building, and they told me I need to fill an application, and I did. I brought it to them, went to the zoning board of appeals. Because of what they said, the state owned partial into my driveway, so I didn't have enough of frontage for the garage. where it was existing lot, they told me that I could go to the state. Well, that was a project. But anyways, I did go to the state. I did get approval from the state. Come back, I have the papers. I asked the state, what could I do? They told me I could do anything I wanted as long as I did not infringe on the Mass Pike, which I am quite a ways back. But in front of me is state property. It goes from my driveway all the way to the Mass Pike. There's one other house after me. I figured that I could do what I wanted. So I put sprinklers in front of, once they got done building, there's a big tree in the front of my lot. Put all hostas around it. So, to cut the story short and sweet, the next door neighbor put a fence up. Right down through his lot line, right over town property. I went to the Paul Canoia. I'll say Brian Z.
Yep, I'm with you.
And Evan. And nobody knew nothing about it, about the fence. Well, I have a letter here from Mr. Finn's attorney. Then I went to see Paul Canoia and asked him, can I put a fence up? And he says, well, you can. I said, it's going on town property, which he knew about. So now I get another letter from an attorney to take the fence down. They call me up and threaten me, the town, before I got the letter, that if you don't take it down, my pallet fence, which it was pallets, but they didn't wait till I even got done with it. And they ordered me to take it down. They even had the police department call me. So I want to know, and it says a right of way twice or three times in my lawyer's letter. So how can anybody put a fence over a right of way? Who gives permission to put the fences up? Paul Canoia said to me that you're both wrong. I said, I agree 100%. But he put his fence and blocked me off from my sprinkler system that I put in there. All the time, I thought it was state property. Well, guess what? It's not. It's town property. It's been town property since 1957. Which the town made me go in front of the state to get permission to add on to my house. It cost me extra money. It didn't cost the town, it cost me to have it surveyed. Gentleman next door to me told me I own more land than what I did. I said, no, I don't. I said, they came and surveyed it. They told me what my lot line was. So eventually I had them come put stakes in the ground. I says, this is what I own. You own that big tree, I do not own it. Now, one other question that I'm not sure what they are saying. Can I give each one of yous a piece of paper?
Of course.
Down the bottom, I have another fence at the, here's one fence, well, it's full of them. it mentions the right of way. Now, right of ways to me were, a right of way was to be used and not abused. He stopped me from walking over town property. And he only come out to the street. He went down the street. I said if he would have gone where he said he was going to go with the fence to begin with, there would have been no problem. But he blocked off my sprinklers. Water in town property. When I bought that property, it was nothing but bushes and rocks and boulders. When they built the house, I had them drag them all out and haul them all out. I put 20 yards of loom in there to make nice grass. You can see where the grass went way over that fence line. I have no clover in my grass. This gentleman has. I'm kind of anal about that, but this gentleman beside me has clover, so you can physically see where I mowed. It was all town property, not state. So now I want his fence down. I went to the zoning board and they said, we don't give permits. We give nobody a permit for it. That's when I started doing all this hunting. And I talked to Paul Canoia and this Brian, which I talked to Brian long before. I talked to Brian probably about 5 days maybe after this whole incident happened. And he says, well, I bet you your life that we own the land, not the state. I said, well, I wouldn't go that far. So he says, come on outside. Well, I went outside and I talked to him. He says, what's the problem? And I told him. He says, well, let me look into it. Well, I never heard nothing from him. But come to find out, he was the one that gave the right to Finn to put the fence up. I talked to the assessor's office when it first started about the state owners. She said, let me look. She couldn't find nothing about the state. She couldn't find nothing about the town. So she said, what's this about? And I told her about a fence. She says, nobody should be giving anybody the right to put a fence on town property. No. This is where I am. I have talked to Evan, and I got no place. All he told me what he was going to do to me. He was going to make me take my mailbox. I said, ho, 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 ho. You can't move my mailbox.
I never said mailbox, just to be clear.
That's federal government. That's will make you move all your hosta plants. He didn't say hosta because I didn't know what they were. He says plantings. And my fence way down the end, you have to take that down. I says, no, I don't. I said, that is not on town property. That is on my property. Twice he told me what he was going to do to me. Nothing what he's going to do to Mr. Finns. I just brought. This is what my pallet fence. That don't look like a pallet fence when it was done.
I don't know what a pallet fence is.
Just
Like made out of pallets?
Yeah.
It's
made out of, yeah.
Oh, you know, like.
But that's a pallet fence. It's like building a house.
Okay.
You have to have stuff to build.
Okay.
That's that.
Okay.
This is the fence. That's all Mr. Finn's land. That's Mr. Finn's tree that he planted. That tree, all that's his, on town property. This part of his garden, he's got a humongous fruit garden out in the front lawn. Part of it is on town property. This is how far down the street the fence goes. And these are little shrubberies that he planted. He's got it. I wish one of yous would come up there and see it and get a good look at it.
Well, do you have anything, I don't want to cut you off, but
This is what I got on my
Thank you.
property.
All right. Yep.
And that's showing the rest of his fence comes down from right, cuts me right in half on town property. The other on the other side of the fence is town property.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Jefferson.
So I'm unclear what the request is here.
I would like Mr. Finn to take his fence down. It's town property.
If his
a right of
fence is has been identified on town property, is that something that we have to make Mr. Roy aware of, that a letter has been sent to Mr. Finn as well, or is, we just?
No, we sent a letter to Mr. Roy after reviewing it with council. And Grafton's practice is that you can go out to the street, but you have to stay within your own frontage. The fence is on the property line between the two properties. The sprinkler heads and pallet fence in question are were in Mr. Finn's frontage. I have a
Frontage or side yard?
Side yard.
Well, I can.
It's not right-
I have a map I can show you if you
All right.
like.
Yeah, because it's hard to visualize the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it started.
That's Mr. Roy's house right there, I think.
That's Roy's.
Oh, and this is Finn. And I can't tell what fence is on Mr. Roy's
because in
property.
fact, I mean, the frontage is a separate issue where in fact we aren't able to just extend into that area. And what is that, like, what's the back?
The layout.
No,
The
the
thing-
general is like 3 feet or something, or what's the?
It depends on the
Setback?
road.
Thank you.
The setback.
He has a fairly good sized tree up. I can stand up in my window, and he's got blinking lights on it. I mean, Christmas time, fine. If I sit out in my garage, I don't wanna see blinking lights.
Is that on his property?
It's town, it's on town
Okay.
property. I just don't understand. Nobody understands how they come out to the street, crossed over town property. And it says that you have done, but it says plantings. Plantings. Nothing about a fence, a cutting off. I can't even walk through there now. And I have the right of walking through there. It is town property.
So if I can just ask, so the fence and the landscaping slash sprinklers are all on town land? Is that what you're asserting?
Correct.
Okay,
But they would have never been there
I understand.
if I didn't go through what I went through
Mhm.
7, 8 years ago.
That's how long this has been going on? 7 or 8 years ago, you put up the fence,
No,
Mr. Roy?
no, it's just been within the last 2 months.
7 or 8 years ago has to do with the grievance about the garage that predates all of this.
All right.
So if you look at what I have up here on the map, so this is the end of Carroll Road, obviously used to traverse, sorry, because I'm sharing it, it's a little laggy, but just give it a second. The pike is here, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a cul-de-sac and the way that the state did the layout back in 1957, you get this weird kind of lollipop shape. And so fast forward to today, this is the property line of Mr. Finn. It goes here and over here. This is the property line of Mr. Roy. So Mr. Roy's been operating in this area. This is what he's talking about. But if you look,
Which is town?
Which is town property?
all town, right?
So the
So
ground
here's
is
the
all
two
town.
sprinkler heads, and here's a shrub.
Okay.
So Mr. Finn put up a fence that followed his property line
and came straight out here,
To the road.
right? At issue is that Mr. Finn is also in the road, but he's way over here. And I think that stems from the belief that the property line was 3 feet farther over, but when it got surveyed, come to find out, it's not 3 feet over. It's right here.
Surveyed by Mr. Roy.
Yep.
So his fence is inside of that. His fence is on the other side of those sprinklers. It's in Finn's yard.
The sprinklers.
Sprinklers are in Finn's yard. Fence
And
is
you-
in Roy's yard.
Well, fences.
Well, fence is
on
in
the
regular,
property.
no, it's not. It's in
No.
town line.
It's town.
Yep.
It's town, it's on town property.
We'll
It's no longer on town property. It's gone. I took it down.
So the side yard fence between the two properties, not the frontage,
Correct.
is only one fence.
One fence.
And that's
One fence.
Mr. Finn's.
That's
Yep.
Mr. Finn.
Okay.
Split rail fence.
So he put the fence up after you would put your sprinklers. Now your sprinklers.
Oh,
are
my
on the
sprinklers have been there for 8 years.
Yeah,
since-
and they're,
since I
and
went-
you put those there based on a survey that you had done?
Yes, because the state said, as long as I did not infringe or do anything to hurt that Mass Pike, I could do what I want.
And you were sent to the state by our town building
I
department?
have, yeah, that was my alternative to do that, is to get the okay from the state to put my driveway. There's a big tree out front, there's a spike in that middle of the tree, and it curves off. Well, I have the frontage this way, but I didn't have enough. It was only 26 feet from the state property back to mine. It's a funny layout.
Well, this is, I mean, we've
Because
got it
it's
here.
bizarre that the state isn't involved in this at all, I guess.
No, the state isn't involved in it at all.
Well, you went to the state to
Right,
get
I had
permission,
to.
and they said you can do what you want, but they were telling you could do what you want on town property.
Right, right. But
So that's a
like I said,
problem.
I wouldn't have been in this.
Right.
But the thing of it is, I removed the fence. It's gone. The sprinkler heads. There was my choice. They wanted me to dig them up. I said, dig them up. Machine put them in. They're 3 feet down. And the rocks and boulders in there, bump that around like no tomorrow. And I'm gonna dig it up. I'm 83 years old. So I took the heads off. They're gone. So I have nothing over there. But neither should Mr. Finn.
Okay, so so at issue here is that his fence is still extending that blue line there past the sprinkler heads to the road.
Correct.
And that's in fact town property, and so ideally there wouldn't be a fence there.
Yes, but traditionally,
Mhm.
in Grafton, and I'll show you, like, look at this, there's a fence right here on the other side of Mr. Roy that's put up by his other neighbor.
Mhm.
And it's a little bit off because, again, the lot lines are a cartoon, but it continues right to about here.
Mhm.
Technically would be in the layout of the road. And if you pay any attention while driving around Grafton, there's a lot of stuff that's in the layout of the road. And the traditional approach has been that you can extend your fence to the road as long as you don't obstruct sight lines, and that it's at your own risk. So we hit that with a plow, we're not paying for it.
What-
So, you'll see it kind of all over, and people have built stone walls around their mailboxes that are in the layout. People have entryways to their driveways that are in the layout. You can see it going down Brigham Hill. There's a couple of really nice walls that
Yeah.
enter into driveways there in the layout. And so the approach has been that you stay within your lot lines. You can't just, well, that's town property. I mean, think about it. If this was the logic, the town layout is 15 feet from the roadside. I'll just go half a mile down and do whatever I want over there. That's not how we operate. We
You don't
stay
go into somebody else's frontage.
exactly.
Yep.
And so that is how we got to this with the advice of counsel.
Just, you still can't block, how can you block the right of way?
How is that blocking a right away?
It's the
I'm just
right of way.
curious.
They're using it in here, that's not my terminology, that's their terminology saying that it's a right of way. Take that out of the right of way. And can I ask,
Mr. Broussard, Evan.
what fence are you talking about?
I think Mr. Finn's.
Yeah, Mr. Finn's or the one on the other side of your property.
The
that
one on the other side of my property?
Yeah, that your other neighbor owns.
That's mine.
Okay.
That's mine. This is what I was asking. Are they talking about that, the last couple of paragraphs way down the bottom about that? That was all surveyed by land surveying. That is right on the pins. So there was nothing wrong with that fence. Nothing wrong with it. So I don't know, this is what I mean. It's always something else beyond. It's always everything that I have on my property. Why is it always mine? What about his? He's got a garden on the property, on town property. I mean, you're picking on everything that I got. Alls I got is a hostas planted around a tree. I have no boulders, nothing in my driveway. I mean, in the lawn.
So it sounds like in the last paragraph that you've done this, you've removed the sprinklers and the fence. And I feel I'm at a disadvantage. I haven't gone by there or seen this prior to just now. I'm happy to do so. And or, we can discuss with town what has occurred that we might not be privy to as we're sitting right here.
Paul Canoia told me, he says, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna give you permission, you can go put it up there. But if the town decides to take it down, they gotta take the both of them down. He said, no, he said that both of them should come down. You're both in the wrong.
Okay.
And I says, Paul, I agree 100% with you, and I'll take mine down. But why should I let him go?
Okay.
Sprinkler heads
Noted, yep.
are a pain in the neck to fix, because I can never adjust them. Like I said, I'm 83 years old and I can't work on them no more. So alls I need is Finn to go around with his lawnmower and I'm gone. And then he says, that I got heck about, first of all, they were gonna charge me a criminal because I dumped pallets on town property. I never did no such thing. I don't know who said that or where it came from. I had 3 pallets. I had about 10 pallets that I was gonna go right down, continue my big white fence and put them down on my line. And that's when I started that. And I moved 3 at a time and I stuck them right up in the air. They were not piled in the ground.
Okay, so, not to cut you off, but I think
No,
that,
that's fine. I got to
Yeah.
say what I want to say.
well, and I
But
think.
I know,
If I might, I think that it would be good if you allowed the board to get more information about this issue. As you've said, it's been going on for quite a while. Perhaps, we can see it and just
no, I wish you would come see
reconvene.
it.
Yep.
Just it has
Craig?
no right
Yeah.
to be there.
Just a
Just the officer come up, I was painting the back of it to put some more ladders to do it.
He can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
You
Yep.
gotta get on the
Right to
microphone.
there.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
We probably,
I was
Sorry.
painting the back of it to put more ladders so it looked nice in the back of Mr. Finn's, like it does in the front there. And the cops come up.
Okay,
The
so,
first question said, who went down the sideway road with this? I says, not me, that's his fence.
Craig?
So just a question for Evan. So if Mr. Roy wants to put a fence in the right of way along his frontage, front of his house,
Mhm.
he can do that at his own risk.
Mhm.
He wants to put a fence along his side lot between him and Mr. Finn. He can do that as long as it's on his property and it's surveyed properly, and he can do that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So besides your sprinkler heads being on your neighbor's property,
Gone.
that's gone.
No, that's town property.
In front of the neighbor's house is what you
In
mean.
front, yeah, that's what I meant. It's in the right of way, but it's in front of his frontage, correct? It's in front of his house, front of his frontage. So you can do those things. You can put a fence up in front of your house. You can put a fence alongside your house. So I guess I don't know what
If
you're
it-
looking for us.
If it's all your land,
Madam Chair.
if
What?
it's all your land, I have no problem with, like, he put it down, I says, I don't care where you put your fence.
Did he put your fence on your property or in the
No.
frontage in front of your house?
Well, it's on the side of my house, the same as mine was on
But
the
it's
side
on,
of
it's
his.
on the side of your house, but it's on his property.
Right, it's on town property.
But on his property line.
It follows the frontage out. It follows the
Right.
lot line out to the street.
Yeah.
I like to see a lot of fences.
He wants a chunk of the split rail fence removed. His stuff was removed. He wants to know why his neighbor's stuff hasn't been removed equally. That's what we're getting at. I feel like at this point, any further discussion, we should probably make this an agenda item for a future meeting. We tend to hold public comment to 3 minutes, and we've definitely indulged for a bit more on this. But I think if anybody's going to need any additional info on this or whatever, we should consider tabling it for tonight and bringing it
Yeah,
up.
that's fine. Would I be
I think it's a good
notified of
idea.
that?
Yeah.
I would be.
Do you want to come back?
I'd come back to,
We can also invite Mr. Finn back too.
that's fine.
I need to go out and see it.
Well,
But
I don't know if that's really a discussion for this board, but, you know, it sounds like it should be worked out with the town administrator's office and DPW and, you know, and maybe the building inspector's
I
office.
tried
We,
one.
we did get an opinion from council,
Yeah,
and that's where the decision came from. So it's not like we're just
yeah,
nimbly pimbly making stuff up.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, I'm sure.
so I'm pretty,
Councilors
Okay.
have been wrong.
Okay. Well, like, as
And I
Mr.
just want
Jefferson
my
said,
pictures.
sure, yep.
You can keep those to see what you need out of that.
Okay.
But I would like, really, if somebody could.
Yeah, sorry, just so you can, okay. As Mr. Jefferson said, we have indulged you for a while, and, so we have the information, and
I mean,
take it under advisement.
I know somebody's already got their mind made up that, but it just bugs me that I couldn't do what
Yeah,
I wanted to do
yeah.
with that property.
Well,
And neither should anybody else. It's not theirs to do what they want with it.
Yep, noted.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good night.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
No, we're not really.
Any other public comment? Okay, moving along to meeting minutes. May 28th,
Yep, Madam Chair.
2024. Mr. Alamo?
I move the board vote to approve the meeting minutes for May 28, 2024 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain from the vote. I wasn't
Yep.
here.
So 3 in favor and one abstain.
Oh, I was here. That's
Your
right.
first
Yeah,
All right, he,
that's true.
take your time.
That's true.
Think about it.
I can't do that anymore. I
So it's
guess.
4-0. Okay, and so I am calling to order executive session?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
You already called to order
Yeah,
the open session,
okay.
so.
So I'm going forward with executive session, so citing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, the purpose of this executive session is to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, which I, the chair, so declare. The topic of this executive session will be current and pending litigation, and the board will reconvene in open session after the executive session. So I need a motion to enter
only
Sorry?
for the
Only for the purpose of adjournment.
only for the purpose of adjournment, yes. So do I need a roll call to go in to executive session? Okay,
Yes.
roll call
Yes,
vote. Mr. Alamo?
Alamo, aye.
Duffin, aye.
Foley, aye.
Jefferson, aye.
Thank you. All right, I declare that we are in executive session.